Hey, hello, welcome everyone. I'm Victor Grant. I'm going to be your co-host tonight with the Intentional Mentoring Monday Night Call. And tonight we're going to be talking about sales and marketing. And why do they call it sales and marketing when marketing comes first? And we're going to be distinguishing what is marketing, what is sales, and various sales strategies, and previewing some of the techniques that Peter is going to be rolling out in the Sales Masterclass. So take it away, Peter, my friend.
Hey, thank you very much, Vic. I appreciate it. For those people that are new to the Intentional Mentoring calls, we do these every Monday night at 7 o'clock. They cover a lot of different things, but mainly mindset, entrepreneur mindset. And so in this call, we're going to talk a little bit more about tactical than I normally do. This is, as I said before, marketing and sales. Also, we do Zoom trainings Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. We're looking to maybe change the time, so we're going to look out for a survey regarding different time changes, what might be best for everybody. But that's Tactical Tuesdays, where we actually build web pages, we build funnels, we do different things like that, where you kind of look over our shoulder. And again, that is on a Zoom. Thursday nights, we also do Zoom trainings. And that is more like a deep dive, where we deep dive into Facebook and YouTube training and Twitter and all these different types of things, where you can actually utilize video and utilize all different aspects of you getting the word out about you and whatever you want to sell. So in total, you're getting 6 to 10 hours a week of training for the Intentional Mentoring group. So thank you so much for coming on here, and I appreciate it. So today is sales and marketing. And people get confused about what marketing and what sales are. Generally, it says sales and marketing. It's usually marketing and sales. So marketing is usually the part that comes first, and then you're selling. So you're marketing to get people to see you where you do the sales process, right? And what I'm going to be talking about right now is really the elements of sales, okay? And as I said at the beginning, whether you like sales, don't like sales, or you said, I'm not a salesperson. Nobody's born a salesperson, right? You can learn to be a world-class salesperson, and there's no dishonor with being a great salesperson, right? Sales is something you do with people, not to people, okay? You do it with people, not to people. It's really an exchange of emotion. And I say all the time, everything is energy, and if you're exchanging emotion stands for energy in motion. Okay, and you're exchanging energy. You're finding the pain that someone has, and you're trying to solve their pain, right? So if you're doing that, you are really the energy doctor, right? You're going to solve their pain with what you have, and you do the right thing. If you can't solve the pain with what you have, you refer them to someone else that you may know that can solve their pain. Or you say something like, listen, hey, I understand it might not be the right time for you. Would you mind if I keep you up to date with what I have in my progress? And you never know, things may change at some point. And people respect you for that. Be very, very professional. Don't take it negatively and don't take it personally. And, don't, when you get rejected, stick your head in the pillow and you feel like 1,000 pounds on top of you and the world is over. It's just part of the process, okay? So in business, nothing is more important than sales, period. Everything revolves around sales. The entire world would stop without sales, okay? And whether you know it or not, you're selling something. You're selling yourself. You're selling yourself on a job. You're selling yourself to your significant other or potentially significant other. So in one shape or form, you're selling yourself, so which is really sales, but you're not aware of it, okay? The other thing that is also important, and you got to recognize that fact, okay? Ensuring that you're producing the highest quality product possible, or you're selling a product that you believe in and delivering an excellent service is very important as well too, okay? You have to be confident on the company, confident about what you're selling, confident about the product, confident about everything about what you're doing, so you're operating in an integrous fashion, that you're selling them something you believe in. Otherwise, you're really not operating in an integrous fashion to them, okay? So you have to believe. You have to believe. We talk about that all the time too. Belief, and again, that revolves energy, okay? So making sure that customers are satisfied and happy is critical. It's not just about making the sale and moving on. They could be a potential continuous customer for many, many years to come. So even in network marketing or selling anything in general, you can't just say, okay, I made a sale and that's it. You never contact them again. Look at them as someone that may be able to buy something else you have in the future, maybe upselling them on something else that can service them even more so in the same product line that you're selling, things like that. So it's imperative that you see that person as a happy customer and satisfied that they would not only use your product, but maybe refer someone else to you as well, too, because you treated them with professionalism and respect, okay? Maintaining an engagement with them over time is critical. And when you're doing that, you're not just talking about sales all the time. You can send them stuff that's not selling, okay? You can send them stuff that's just value-driven, okay? Value-driven. Hey, I saw this article today about nutrition. I thought you might like to see it. And you send them that. You're not selling them anything. You're just keeping you in their mind's eye, so possibly at a later date, they might think of you when they want to buy something, or when you have something available eventually down the road, then you're top of mind, okay? So sales is the lifeblood to everything around the world. All businesses and so on revolve around sales, and money is exchanged. We say money is energy as well. So when I say money, when I say everything is energy, I'm not just saying it. I really believe that everything is energy. You and I are energy. Money is energy. Everything is energy. It's just different forms of energy. And if we can utilize this form of energy, this form of vibration, we can change our environment to be able to be a conductor to that, okay, a conductor to that energy. And we can, depending on how we feed it and how we change our environment around us to be even more conducive to that attraction of that energy, of that money, or whatever it happens to be, then we can be more and more successful. I can't promise you how fast that'll happen, but again, it all depends on how you feed it, right? Which is going to win, the yin or the yang? Well, it all depends on how you feed whichever one you want to feed, right? So, and that happens around the world. When you look at, there's a great example. If you look at the two countries, North and South Korea, okay? When you see North Korea from space during the evening, and you see South Korea from space during the evening, what do you see? North Korea is dark. South Korea is lit up, right? Why? Because sales happen 24/7, and when sales happen, there's a trust that goes back and forth, and there is no trust in North Korea right now, okay? It's not because they don't have light bulbs, because they do. It just doesn't happen. That exchange is not happening all the time because it's an energy thing, okay? So a sales force is a business's offensive lifeline. Every day, salesmen and saleswomen go out to battle. And when I say battle, I use these military terms because I was a former Marine, and I learned these types of things, okay? So I use that as just illustrations, okay? So their collective goal is to achieve the sales that all businesses require. There is no room for compromise. There is no room for error. No quarter is asked, and no quarter is given, okay? Sales are a zero-sum game. It's black and white. There can only be winners and losers. And when I say winners and losers, it's just making the sale and not making the sale, okay? Just like any really, I guess, competitive endeavor, sales can be exhilarating for those of people that are on the top of their game and really brutal for those people that are not. If you're not having any success, like in one of the programs we have, Easy One Up, we can give people 100 leads. Both of them have the same 100 leads, and one person can't make one sale and one makes 10 sales. Why? It's the same thing. Well, it's because the person is different, right? So if you're not born a salesperson, you can learn the techniques of becoming a great salesperson. Okay, Wallace Wattles in his great book, The Science of Getting Rich, says there's really no difference. They put their pants on the same way. It's just they do things in a very specific way that makes them successful, and you can learn that specific way. Okay, you have to practice that specific way, and if you practice these sales techniques, and I only have a short time to kind of go into a few things here. I'm coming out with a course in the near future called Sales Masterclass, which goes into these very, very, very specific ways. And it's, going to be a multi-hour course because we really have to go into these different things. But I just want to enlighten you and bring up the awareness that this stuff exists, because once you become good or even great or even, dare I say, world-class at sales, you can write your own paycheck. It doesn't matter what the world does. It doesn't matter what the world economy does, because the world is always starving. Companies are always starving for world-class salespeople, okay? Even high-ticket sales, okay? But preparation is the key, okay? It's a key element in any successful sales, whether you're doing calls, presentations, or anything like that, and you have to prepare and practice. Do you think people go to the World Series or they go to the Super Bowl without practicing? No. They practice all the time, and sales is really no different. If you want to operate in the Super Bowl of sales, where all the top people there are making lots of money and doing and operating and making a lot of customers very, very happy, then you have to practice, okay? So, and I also was in the restaurant business, and I have a culinary degree, so I also use analogies that are like recipes, okay? So winning at sales, it's like a great recipe. Exact ingredients need to come together at specific times and specific ratios in order for a successful result to be achieved. It's like baking. Baking is a science. If you change the heat, if you change the amount of salt or sugar or yeast in something, it's not going to come out the same, okay? Then that doesn't mean that sales is inordinately difficult or beyond normal reaches for most people. It's far from it. Sales is something anybody can do as long as they keep the recipe in mind. Wallace D. Wattles, doing things in a very specific way. Suggestion, get that book. You could probably find it on public domain. It was done over 100 years ago. But, if you want to buy the book, I would say on Amazon, probably less than $10, called The Science of Getting Rich. It's one of my favorite books, next to one of the great ones out there, from Napoleon Hill. We all know what that one is. So there's just one caveat. All recipes are simply guidelines or jumping off points. Truly creative chefs take the basic recipe and make it something that's unique and immediately identifiable to be there specifically, okay? So once you know the basics, then you can jump off and put your personality into it, because it becomes an art form after a while. And it's like you know what you know because you know it, right? And I've been in there such a long time that I know what I know because I know it. Same thing with Victor. He knows what he knows because you become an unconscious competent. And that's where the art form comes in, right? People accomplish this by not being afraid to experiment with the ingredients and the proportions, and they're not afraid to get rejection, and they learn from everything. So they're not really rejected. It's just a learning process, right? They add something here, take something away, and usually that becomes the factor when they're with, say, a single presentation. And they get to say, okay, I think this person is this personality type, or this is their hot button, that's their hot button. It's not a sledgehammer type of approach. And the same thing if you're talking on stage and you're talking to a lot of people. You have to know your audience, okay? And you adjust on the fly. Very, very important, okay? So once you know the basics of the ingredient, then you can adjust on the fly, because sometimes things are just not working and you have to change, right? A great salesperson does exactly what I'm talking about with the recipe for sales, okay? They start with the basic process and they add their own special spin to the mix, their own personality to the mix, right? They keep a basic script in mind and they know this inside and out, like happy birthday. You know happy birthday, right? You know what the happy birthday song is. They know this, that's the script. But they edit and they ad lib and they make it all their own. They shake up the ingredients and the proportion so that it suits their personal circumstances, right? And the different personalities of all their prospects. They don't stick with one process. They build on the process so that it makes sense to them, and we all move throughout this process, and based on how we do that is based on the sales ratio. That's what I say all the time, and most of the people on here are network marketers, okay? It's not individual marketing where I don't have to talk to anybody marketing. It's people marketing, right? So you should want to eventually get to speak to people because you're going to get them to sign up. It's old-fashioned. I was talking to Julie Williams the other day, and she was on our Saturday training. We did a 5.5, 6-hour training on Saturday. It was great. And we're saying we like the old-fashioned stuff. Yeah, everybody wants people to sign up without even talking to them. But if you want to have a ratio go from, say, 5 or 10% sign up to 20, 30, 40% sign up, you want to talk to people because they don't bite, and people want to know how you tick, how they tick, and you can adjust your presentation accordingly, right? So I want you to think about this as well, too. I wish I could interact with people. How many people on here love music? I know Victor does. He's a great pianist, right? Think about any famous songs. So pick the top 10 songs that you know, okay? What does every one of them have in common? They have an immediately identifiable and irresistible medley that pulls you into the song and keeps the song in your head long after it's finished. You ever have this thing happen where you listen to a song, I can't get it out of my head. It's like a loop in my head, right? It sticks, right? The song is a hit because it had a hook that caught the listener's ears and kept them listening long after the song was over. Your sales pitch needs a similar hook in order to be successful. You need to lead with something that sets you apart from your competition and that first grabs your client's ears and their soul. Now, the second part of that is the most important, their soul, okay? What makes them tick? And the only way you're going to do that is if you ask them questions. You have to ask questions to the person and before you actually give a presentation. So, hey, listen, hey, this is Peter Wolfing, and I'm so glad to talk to you here today. Tell me about yourself. Why did you respond to my ad? What are you looking for? All these different types of probing questions, and then you listen. Very important, you listen to what they're saying, and that's where you modify your presentation based on what they're saying, okay? So you really want to kind of hit them where they live. You want to get inside their head, and you want to be instantly memorable with them. Your pitch needs to be generated only positive emotions for them. Okay, why? Because positive emotions elicit positive associations and recollections from them. When you lead with a hook, you raise the chances that your client or customer or prospect are going to view the rest of your presentation with an open mind. Have you ever spoken to someone and instantly the walls go up and you're kind of lost before you even got started? That's why it's important to ask questions to know what they're thinking, what's important to them, because money might not be important to them. Time freedom might be more important to them. Making $200,000 a year might not be important to them. What might be important to them is making $1,000 this month so they can pay their rent, right? That might be important to them. What might be important to them is this. That's peace of mind, right? Having more money come in that's going out, that's peace of mind. Then you worry about the high money, right? So you might blow them away and say, listen, we have people making $500,000 a year. That might blow them away. So they're like, yeah. The wall goes up, then you're done. When they're looking just to pay their bills. Okay, so eventually the bigger money may come there, but you won't even get there if the gatekeeper comes up and that's their subconscious, okay? So what happens, what you try to do is you try to pinch them, okay? I call it pinching them. What happens when they get pinched? What happens when you get pinched? It hurts, right? The harder you get pinched, the more it's going to hurt. This is precisely what you want to do to your potential prospects during your presentation. You want to pinch them as hard as you can. Of course, not physically. It's an emotional pinch. If you do it the right way, they'll feel just as strongly as you do, okay? You want them to feel something so they remember. Every successful sale is about solving a problem. The potential client has the problem. Okay? You demonstrate that you can solve the problem, and guess what? You might get the sale. It's that simple. There's only one catch. You've got to remind them of the problem. And you've got to pinch them that the problem is really a problem. In fact, you've got to do more than remind them. You've got to show them that the problem is much, much worse than they've been telling themselves. The realization that they have been perhaps underestimating the problem. What's happening right now? COVID, quarantine, lockdown, jobs. Look at how many people filing for unemployment benefits, job problems. That's why the home-based business realm has been going through the roof. because people realize they have to have a plan B and they've been ignoring it for too long, and you have to pinch them that they have to have a plan B and that you're there to solve the problem, right? So maybe kind of show them, hey, they're maybe lying to themselves, and it might hurt. Okay, causing pain is okay because it's going to motivate them to take action in order to put the problem to bed once and for all. Time freedom might be a problem. Money might be a problem. All these different types of things. So once you've made them aware of the magnitude of the problem that they face, you need to keep their attention focused on it throughout the presentation. It's human nature to sugarcoat things just a little bit. Most individuals somewhat are unwilling to take a cold, hard look at the reality of their situation. If things can be made to seem a little bit better than they really are, then no immediate action needs to be taken place, and you might not get the sales. Okay? Your job during your presentation, whether it's through a lot of people, through a Zoom presentation, or through an individual, is to essentially nip this tendency in the bud, right? You've got to nip it in the bud. And to do this, you need to discuss the negative ramifications of your prospect's problems in all its glory and details, okay? You need to be as graphic as possible. If you can make them metaphorically squirm in their seats a little bit, then you're doing it right. The idea is to set up a twofold idea in their minds. First, that the problem is much more severe than they've been thinking. And second, you want to establish a sense of urgency, that if the action isn't taken immediately to solve the problem, the consequences will be dire indeed, okay? There's an element of guilt or blame at work here as well. Although you will do and say nothing overt to really refer to either, the prospect's really going to experience these emotions at a subconscious level anyway, okay? The feeling is that this can really hurt them if they don't take action, okay? These negative emotions are going to serve to prompt the prospect, whether, again, individual or in group, to take action, to click on the button, or to buy your product, okay? Because you're solving their problem, and you have to stir up sometimes that they have a problem because they might not know that they have a problem. They might have been ignoring that they have a problem. Now, if they don't have a problem, it's your job also to not sell it to them. Because you have to have some integrity here, guys. Professionalism, right? If you're kind of digging around a little bit and they just don't have a problem, then you in turn have to part ways and say, hey, listen, I don't think there's a match here. You know, be professional. Okay? So, guys, this is the beginning of the sales process. This is the beginning of the sales process. Obviously, there's so much more that I'm going to be talking to you in future lessons, or if you do the Sales Masterclass, I'll go into really great detail. We'll do back and forth and studies and things like that. But you showed them value in the presentation. You solved their problem, all these different types of things. Then eventually what you have to do, you have to ask for the sale. So many people don't even ask for the sale. But during this process, if you've done your job correctly, you almost don't have to ask for the sale. They're going to ask you, how do I get your product? They're going to want to get your product, right? Because you're going to stir up the pain so much that they have to do it. They're saying to themselves throughout your presentation, okay, get to the end. Come on, I want to buy this thing, right? I want to buy this thing. And that's closing the sale. Closing the sale. And so many people don't even ask for the sale. So, hey, what do you need to know to get started? Right? Or they may even come up to you and say, okay, can I buy your product? And so there's these different things that you can think about as you're going through this sales process, okay? But ultimately, you have to practice, okay? And I say this all the time, is that how do you make more money in business? You make yourself more valuable to the marketplace. And when you're more valuable to the marketplace, you can demand more money because you're better than everybody else. And there's nothing wrong with being better, right? It's because you practiced, right? You in turn have practiced the sales skills necessary, the awareness necessary to pick up on these little nuances, to be able to use voice inflection when you're speaking to people. Hey, this is Peter Wolfman. How you doing today? Or instead of, hey, this is Peter Wolfman. How you doing today? You hear the difference? Tone of voice, transfer of energy, knowing and recognizing the type of personality the person is. These types of things are the subtle nuances between I hate sales to I'm okay at sales to I'm good at sales to I'm great at sales to, hey, I'm world-class at sales. Okay? And it doesn't take 10,000 hours to be able to do this. It doesn't. It just takes focused, focused, let me try a better word. Let's see. All-encompassing, white-hot burning desire focus, okay, as Napoleon Hill would say, right? So you, in turn, can do this. And again, as I said before, once you learn how to do this, you can write your own check because it doesn't matter what anything else happens out there. You become the causal factor of your income because practically every company out there wants you because you know what you're doing and you make stuff happen, okay? So I'm going to transfer it over to my significant other here, Victor Grant, and he's going to talk about marketing because in my view, and he might have a different view here, but because we sometimes don't compare notes here, but we have a lot of things in common the way we see things, is marketing is the preparation before you actually get to the sales process. But also, in turn, marketing is you're starting the sales process a little bit as you're going through the marketing process because you're prepping them before you even get to them. So let me turn it back over to Victor Grant, and he's going to talk about marketing a little bit.
Hey, thank you, Peter. Yep. That was a great introduction. And one of the things that I like to say about marketing is something, I feel like I authored this statement, and it just dawned on me. I say, okay, this is my statement. It's not anyone else's statement. To my knowledge, I originated it. But basically, marketing is the science of desire. So just take that in.
I like
the
that.
Science of desire. So while sales is a people interaction business, marketing is an analytical preparation, anticipation, and engagement process. The whole point of it is to cause someone else to say, I want that, right? What's the number one marketing company in the world? It starts with an A, right?
Apple?
Yes, there it is. They are the number one marketing company in the world.
Yeah.
How do they do that? Well, they cause people to want the product. They cause people, anything they do, I want that. People will stand in line for hours to get the brand new iPhone when it hits. They want to be the first one to show it off.
Yeah, even though they bought it a year ago, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's all about the culture that they've built. It's around the idea of being cool, being different. And it's about being connected with your fans. You know, they simultaneously evolved the music industry and destroyed it at the same time. When iTunes came out, it was the death of the recording industry. No more artists were part of labels anymore. Everything went down to the individual song. And now with streaming services, it's like the next evolution. No one's even buying songs anymore. That's all marketing. It's all marketing. When you sign up for HBO Max, what do? They give you a free period to try the service, but do they give it to you for free without a method of payment? No, they don't, right? There's always a commitment that's both directions. So as marketing is the science of desire, sales is the handling of objections and assisting people with the process of making their purchase. Those of you who are trying to generate online sales, especially inside of another company, I can share with you a huge secret that worked for me. Whether it was in person or whether it was in Zoom, the times that I've always closed the sale, I sat there, watched their screen as they filled out the form, and made sure that they actually completed the form. One of my best clients, he sold his business for somewhere north of $10 million. He had his wife do that. He said, Victor, nobody wants to fill out those stupid forms. I put my wife on the phone, and she types in all the information in the form. That's great. That's that is a nugget that is fantastic. Now, I don't mean, whether it's wife or husband, the woman could be doing the selling, and the husband could be doing the data entry. But let's face it, most people today do not want to deal with it. Why do you think electronic payments are so simple? You can buy something on PayPal with a thumbprint. You don't even need to remember your own password. It's already on your phone. Your phone actually acts as a transaction device. That allows sales to move to the realm where sales and marketing are married. What I've observed in the digital space, having sold lots of digital products, and also I was a partner in, when I say partner, I had a tiny little percentage to increase their sales conversions. Sales conversions is, okay, out of these 1,000 people, we get X number of sales. If we modify the sales page a little bit, like we might move the video up a little higher, we'll put a little words above the video, we'll change the button label, we might add some bullets on the side. I kid you not, Peter, this one client was fighting me tooth and nail, and I actually ended up doubling their sales volume. I put on a little piece of software that measured where people's attention was on the page. And then against their wishes, one of the agencies I used to work with in San Francisco, they pay attention to this statement. You might love it. They say, we tend not to do what our clients ask because their customers are too important. You like that? We tend not to do what our clients ask because their customers are too important. Mm-hmm. And so what they would do is you would sign a contract, you give them a retainer, you put $25,000 down, and before their creative team even started working on your campaign, you basically waive all rights, okay, of complaining, whining, changing things, right? You let them do their job. And so I invoked that on here. I doubled their sales conversion, literally doubled it. It caused a product to sell, instead of $40,000, we sold over $100,000. And guess what I did? It was like, is it Michelangelo? I think it was, the sculptor, right, David, right? What I did was I measured where people were bored, and I simply deleted it. And you could see the client cringing. Oh, no, my God, we spent so much money on that, on those graphics and on the stuff. And I said, you know what? It's going out. It's gone. We're deleting it. And they were like fuming. I said, no, just let it run. Just trust the process. So as much as sales is the ability to handle objections and move people toward an objective, marketing is not just the science of desire, it's also creating the space for sales to happen. So both those things are happening simultaneously. And that's why I love the dovetail and correlation between sales and marketing. I'll give you another example. One of my friends in the United Kingdom, he used to be a salesman for IBM, and he told me the story that when he first, he was in his 20s, now he's just turned 60-something, and he had a job interview to be a salesman for IBM, and so he walks into the office, the guy's got his arms crossed, and then he looks at him, and he points at the ashtray, and he says, I'm not a smoker, sell me that ashtray. That was his job interview, right? I'm not a smoker, sell me that ashtray. Whereas a marketer, I was writing this up today, and I shared it with you, Peter. I was thinking, well, how would a marketer approach this? I said a marketer, like my friends that are like real bona fide marketers, especially in retail, Shopify and all that kind of stuff, what they do is they understand the human aspect of safety, right? So what they do is they price all of the products in their catalog at right around $30 to $40. The maximum price is $49. Okay, this is such a ninja strategy. You could literally make millions with this one strategy if you simply understand it. What they do is they say, we give you free shipping on all orders of $50 or more. And every product is $49 or less.
so it makes you have to buy another product just to get over to $50, right?
Exactly. And when we ran the numbers for them, they're breaking even on their advertising costs on all the people who buy one product. In other words, they make sure that the cost that they pay Facebook, Google, to bring in the customer to look at their store is around $30 per customer. But guess what? Anytime someone buys two products or more, it's like pure profit. And it's amazing. It's amazing. They can actually sustain $1 million in sales a month consistently over months and years selling, really simple stuff. So a marketer would sell, if you have an iPhone, I'm going to sell you an iPhone case. If you have a sofa, I'm going to sell you a sofa cover. If you buy, let's say, for example, beauty products, I'm going to sell you real high-quality, organic, or whatever. Like what you would do, like the example of the smoking, I want to go back to that one because that was a really good one. The marketer would say, hey, we've got these gold-plated ashtrays that are embossed with your name on it, and you're going to love it. You're absolutely going to love these ashtrays. They're $29.95, okay? But I'll tell you what. If you buy two of them, right, we're going to make it for free shipping, and you could use the second ashtray maybe in your office. You might even want to give it to a friend who's a fellow smoker and have him remember you. If you don't want your own personal name, we'll brand it with your logo. And guess what? If you buy 10 of them, we will throw in 2 extra for free. That's what a marketer does. They come up with, I almost want to use the word, cockamamie. I love that.
Well, Victor, how about the ones on TV you see all the time where they say, listen, buy this product, but hey, listen, we'll give you a second one for free. Just pay shipping and handling.
Yeah, exactly.
And that shipping and handling you're paying is probably all their profit because they have everything calculated into the first one you buy. The second one is all calculated into that, and it's all pure profit because they know you're probably going to get a second one. Oh, just shipping and handling? Great, I'll buy that one too because I'm getting it for free. Yeah. And that's where their whole profit margin is.
Exactly. And so a good marketer creates curiosity to see what's on the other side. So like on Saturday, we had a training on landing pages, and what James was saying, I was saying, and you were saying, we were all in agreement that a good landing page should not tell you what's on the other side. It should give you the feeling of what it's going to feel like when you've already consumed the thing on the other side. And that's really, really powerful. And you can do that with an image. You can do it with a single photograph. You can do it with a single image. That's why when you look at magazine ads, oftentimes it's a single image with a few words. Some of the best ads, like one of my friends, he now moved to Montana. He and I used to do branding. I was a programmer, and he was a branding expert, and we used to do websites back in the day. And he came up with this for a ski resort up here in California, and he came up with a really simple idea, the soul of the mountain. That's it, the soul of the mountain. And then they had an image of like the sun, and you're skiing, and it's like beautiful, but it says just, boom, the soul of the mountain. Nothing more. And it's like, whoa, wow, I love that. And sales went through the roof because it was different. It got people to say, wow, this is so different. It wasn't, oh, yeah, get your free lift tickets or, you can get cheap lift tickets, right here, come on Veterans Day. I mean, it wasn't any of that stuff. It was this elegant thing. And they actually are the most expensive ski resort in all of the place. Mm-hmm. And they were actually able to use that to bundle it together with a package that include hotel, lodging, and possibly even airfare. So selling as the response to building desire in someone is really the marriage of these two opposites. Very, very few people can do it well in both ways. One of the best people that does this is Marshall Silver, and he's a hypnotist. I first saw Marshall at Las Vegas in a conference before he was really in the digital space. He was just a hypnotist, and he had a lot of personal growth and leadership cassette tapes at the time. It was a long time ago, before there were CDs. That did actually exist, right? So he would sell these self-hypnosis cassette tapes, and I remember he would captivate the audience with his presence. Just walk in, and you could say, whoa, wow, this guy's got power. And then he would ask for volunteers, and you would see like half the room raise their hand, myself included. And then he would choose several of us from the audience. We would go up on the stage, and he would hypnotize us, and then we would do these crazy things. Now, I couldn't be hypnotized. I was actually sent back to the seats. That's a long story because I studied hypnosis before that. And one of the things when you're in hypnosis school is they hypnotize you so that other people can't hypnotize you. But anyway, it didn't work for me. But other people were like clucking like chickens. They were running around like witches with a broom. They were screaming. They had the whole dating thing sitting in the lap. It was, it was a family show, but, it was a little bit edgy. And, it was like, the classic thing. And he could do that too. And it was like amazing that you could do that. When I was learning hypnosis, we didn't do that kind of stuff. It was more about, personal growth type hypnosis. I learned from Jose Silva, the great, many of the people think he's like one of the originators of modern hypnosis on a mass scale. But anyway, Marshall's video is now the front door to a beautiful, beautiful presentation that gives you all of the ingredients that we have to understand in order to generate a sale without talking to people. Now, I mentioned you said you want to talk to people, but I say, what if? What if you could generate a sale under $100 without having to talk to anyone, and then give them a bonus of bringing them to a webinar where they just choose of their own volition to say, you know what, I want that. I want to go Vertex Live. Where do I mail my check? Okay? That's what a marketer does. Their job is to inspire people to say, where do I mail my check? What's the address? Right? And then your job as a salesperson is, here is the address, and that's it. And make sure that they write it down, repeat it to them several times, make sure it's written down correctly, and then you ask them, by when will you send this? Because I want to, as soon as I receive this, I want to send you I want to send you a gift in a coconut with a zipper. Remember that, Peter?
Yeah.
Right? So we had one of my friends who's like one of the top marketers in the world. He actually makes funnels for people who have funnel companies, and he works with major celebrities and like Paul was that one? Yeah, Paul Abdul. And he does it all through mailing. He has a business partner that handles all the emailing side, and the two of them have been working together for about a decade. It was amazing training we had a few weeks ago. Actually 3 weeks ago, right before Christmas. So one of the big takeaways I got from that was that these super simple statements are the landing pages that convert the best, and that most of your marketing happens before you even send people to the click. So then I created a whole presentation, probably which I need to repeat again because we now have new people showing up. I call it before the click. Before the click. And when you think about it, there's so many things you can do before the click. Like, picture this. You're watching a video. You watch another video on Facebook. You watch another longer video on YouTube. And nowhere in there are there any links. There's nothing to buy. There's no one selling you anything. There's nothing you're even needing to do. They're not even asking for your email. And you keep somehow everywhere you go, every time you turn on your phone, you see another video in your feed. Every time you turn on your phone, your Facebook is showing that. And eventually it's like, wow, wow, boom, boom, boom. And then you say, okay, yeah, I'm interested. And then as soon as you say, I'm interested, all of a sudden the tone of voice changes. It moves from marketing into sales. And then it starts saying, okay, have you completed your checkout forms? You're going to get a different tone of voice. You're no longer going to get the warm, friendly, fuzzy kind of a thing. You're going to get the what I call the challenge. The challenge. And challenge is one of the great, great, great wisdoms. I have a whole book series that I purchased called The Challenger Sale. You can go to my search engine, EarthGrid. It's an alternative to Google. And you can type in Challenger Sale. And there's a lot of books on challenger selling. And I'm going to actually go back to my computer so I can be accurate. It was either a Harvard study, a Harvard Business School, or one of those other business schools did a study of all the different types of salespeople. And most people think that, the friendly guy, right? The guy who has his Google Calendar filled with 15-minute appointments all day long, 7 days a week, or he's the guy that, you want to go watch a football game with. Most people think, oh, that's the best salesperson, right? Or the amiable one that, is like the support person. Oh, yeah, anything you need, I'm just going to be here for you, blah, 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 right? And then there's the lone wolf. The lone wolf is kind of like, what was that, the Wolf of Wall Street guy we saw in New York City? Yep. What's his name?
Belfort.
Yeah, Jordan Belfort. Right. And he uses the wolf strategy, where you're a lone wolf and you just kind of pounce on people, right? That's kind of like his strategy. So there's all these different strategies. Take a guess I think there's 5 different sales strategies. I could go back inside and pull up my computer and I could show you what they all are. But that was a presentation I gave last year outlining these 5 sales types. But there's also a 5th type, which is called the challenger. But take a guess which sales strategy performed the least out of 2,000 sales professionals in Fortune 500 companies selling big ticket items, $2,000 to $10,000 a month sometimes. In corporate America, it's kind of like called a seat fee. So you say, how many employees do you have? Oh, okay, that's going to be $50 a seat. That's kind of how it is in the real world, right? Mm-hmm. Like when you go to Salesforce, that's kind of how it is. You go to any of these companies like Salesforce, there's an interview process, but it's more of a qualifier, okay? And they do it all using the qualifier sale. But take a guess which was the least out of, I think it was something like 2,000 sales professionals that they did surveys on. They measured their performance. They were typically on a draw plus commission. That's like what most people, in the real world work. Not in the home-based business industry, but in the, I can't really even call it the real world. Let's call it the old world, right? People in the old world before affiliate marketing, home-based business, and all of these new emerging technologies, that's what people would want. It was kind of a hybrid model. You would get the safety and security of a job, but you also could grow and get like a few points if you made, substantial sales volume as a bonus. Peter, which of the sales types do you think performed the least?
Really not sure, buddy. I don't know.
It's the amiable. It's the football guy. It's the guy that has the appointment calendar filled. Okay, they performed the least. Guess which one performed the most?
The challenger?
The challenger, by a factor of 2 to 3 over all the others. And the challenger, the distinction is they will not allow people to buy their product until they prove themselves first. That's the distinction of the challenger. Is that amazing or what?
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to sell you this thing until you prove to me that you qualify to buy it. That's the attitude of the challenger.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
and I think people respect that. They respect that part of it. Yep.
And what they're doing is they're basically saying they're actually trying to figure out genuinely if it's a match for that. I had an experience of a challenger. I was at this conference in San Diego called the Traffic and Conversion Summit. And
that's the big one.
Yeah, that's the big one. Everyone paid $2,000 to be there. And, there were like 6,000 people. And they even had VIP tickets, which were even more. And then if you were a speaker, it was even more. And then there were, there's very, obviously if you're actually a keynote speaker, you would not be charged. But what was interesting were the parties. And I remember one of these parties was put on by this mailing company. I'm trying to remember the name of it. But basically, it starts at $500 a month and goes up to like $10,000 a month, right? That's this mailing company. And they just do email. And so I was actually being qualified at the party. It was fascinating to watch this guy walk up to me, and he started asking me questions like, how big is your list? Who brought you here? How did you hear about this party? What really nice guy, right? But immediately it was like, whoa. And I said, well, I'm fascinated by this because I've heard about your software, and I kind of turned it back on him. I said, well, this is the software that I use. How is yours better than this one, and what are the differences? Oh, yeah. Well, I have to get you on with product guy. So then he introduced me to the product guy. But then he came back around. And see, challengers always keep passing the buck to a higher expert because their job is to ask you questions to see if you qualify. Then the other person is going, oh, okay, I'm the expert in how the product works and the APIs work and how all this other geeky stuff was. And so then after I finish with the product guy, I say, wow, this is really, really interesting. Yeah, this is a really cool product. And I say, you know what, let me think about it. I might get back to it. And so then the challenger comes back in. He immediately starts challenging me again. He says, you know what, if you jump on this tomorrow, I can increase your volume, and we could actually sit down with you and map out your business and see how. And I noticed it wasn't no longer, okay, this is really, really important. It wasn't about the price he was wanting to charge me, which was like north of $10,000. It was now about he was going to look at my business, see what our sales volume was, and he was going to show us specifically how we could increase it with this product, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a challenger will spend a lot longer with you. However, they're going to disqualify you really quickly, okay? And so the successful challengers, and there's several books on this, and I highly recommend you read all of them, is to disqualify people really quickly if they don't meet your criteria, which means that you have to know what your criteria are. Like, obviously, if you're charging $500 a month, if someone has an email list of 500 people, that's stupid. You don't need their product. Go to MailChimp, right? If they typically work with people that have 100,000 plus email list size, and that's what they were looking for. They're looking for people like that to say, hey, we have the best delivery. We actually do stages. We do all this research. We have all this science behind it, and we're going to make you, really bring you from $100,000 a year company to $1 million a year company. And here's the path that we've done it, and here are the people that we've done it for, and here's how it's done. And so a lot of you might be thinking, well, what does this have to do with Easy One-Up? It has everything to do with Easy One-Up. Because when you see Vertex Live as a starting point for your relationship, then you're no longer going to want to sell that $25 product anymore. You're going to want to find a way to sell that $25 product in an automated fashion. You're going to want to find a way to cause that to happen almost like so simply. Like, you can do it in an automated fashion. Everyone signs up for free. Everyone creates an account. You export all those emails, email all those people, or just send, I think there's an email tool inside of Easy One Up. If not, just click send all, send to my team. I think there is a send to my team. So you send it to your team, hey, we're having a Zoom webinar Tuesday, 5 p.m., be there. And we're going to be talking about it. And then what you do is you walk people through, hey, take a look. This is what these products look like. And you always want to focus on the product when you're a challenger. You're focusing on how the product solves a problem that your prospect has.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so your marketing is solely to get them to the webinar. Nothing more. You're not there to sell them anything. You just show up. And then once it's there, it's okay. Now everybody follow the leader. We're all going to do this together. And see, now you're not sitting there one by one signing people up for a $20 product with $5 admin fee. You have 100 people in a Zoom session, and all of them sign up, right, at whatever level. And you want to create bonus, and the rule of thumb is 3. Remember, so if the product price is $500, you've got to create something has a perceived real-world value of $1,500. Like I have a Facebook training. It sells for $2,000. When people join at a $1,000 level, I give them that training as a bonus. Okay? You have to create something that builds this need for people to say, yes, I want it. Okay? Remember, marketing is the science of desire. I'll close with one last story. I learned marketing from one of the great marketing gurus of all time. That was back in, 33 years ago. What does that work out to be, Peter?
Was 1988 or so? 87?
Yeah, 87, 88, yeah. And so I would just turn 21, and I was in a bar having a conversation with this man. His name was Robert. And really, really charming person, just, yeah. And I had never heard of any of this kind of stuff that was there. And, we just had this conversation, and I asked him the question. I said, well, what brings you to San Diego? You live in Utah. I said, well, I do real estate deals out here, and I was just teaching a master class. It starts on Sunday. Excuse me, it starts tomorrow, Saturday. It's 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, and it's going to be a marketing class. I said, well, yeah, I'm actually studying marketing in college right now, and I'm having a struggle. I'm struggling with this topic because it just doesn't seem real to me. It just seems like it's all this, this textbook stuff that doesn't seem to be anything like what I see in television or any of that kind of stuff. And he said, yeah, that's right, because what we do is we teach something called direct response marketing. I said, wow, what's that? I said, okay, supposing I write a book. And my hook for that is you can drop me in any city, anywhere in America, and with nothing down, I would buy a piece of real estate, flip it, and make at least $100,000. Just give me a $100 bill, drop me in any city in America. He says, wow, have you really done that? I said, yeah, I've done that. Yes, I've written a book called Nothing Down. I just happen to have a copy of it. Here it is. So then he hands me this book, and I autographs it. I said, wow, I've never heard of this book, but yeah, I'm really into real estate. That sounds fantastic. So he says, you know what? I've never done this before. Everyone else paid $3,500 to be there, but I just want to give you this as my gift and have you come. Can you make it tomorrow and Saturday? I said, yeah, sure. I live right up the street, no problem. I'll just walk down here. This is in La Jolla, California, just out north of San Diego. So I said, great. I said, yeah, so let me know how you like the book, and I'll see you there tomorrow morning. So I got there early. I grabbed a nice seat. The table was like a U. So Robert was sitting there at the very, very beginning, at the top, and he had like a flip chart, butcher paper. This is before they had whiteboards, right? You remember those big pens with the whiteboard?
And before PowerPoints, right?
Yeah, before PowerPoints. And on every table there was like this binder. I still have that binder. I kept it forever. It's just like, oh wow, this is great. So I sat down, and I was leafing through the binder, and this kid, he's a little bit older than me, not too much older. His name is Mark. Sits next to me. And we ended up being like workout partners, workout buddies. Well, long story short, I learned direct response marketing. I learned how to sell by writing copywriting. I learned what copywriting was. I learned how to write sales letters that you would put envelopes on. And what I really wanted to do was to see, okay, well, how could I turn that more electronic? That was like my whole thing, because I wanted to see, okay, I didn't want to do this mailing thing. I wanted to do it electronically. And so when email came out, I was like, wow, this is amazing. But the fellow to the left of me I was sitting down with, his name is Mark Victor Hansen. That's before he wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. It's before he co-authored the book, The 1 Minute Millionaire, with Robert G. Allen, who was presenting. Robert G. Allen was the gentleman who comped me into the mastermind. And so I learned from the greats of the greats, in this space. And everybody there walked away with a sense of awe and wonder that it was possible, right? And so Mark went on to go create Chicken Soup with Jack Canfield. And I met Jack later at the called Income Builders International, and then later became CEO Space with Bernie Dorman, and love Bernie and his family and everything like that. There's a fantastic organization. If you have a chance to go into CEO Space, it's great. But there's lots and lots of journeys that happen, and so I almost think that sales is a journey. I just kind of thought of that. Sales is a journey, and it begins with marketing. Write that down, Peter. If you write that down, that's a really good one. Sales is a journey, and it begins with good marketing.
Yep. Okay.
Right? And so as marketing is the science of desire, sales is the natural evolution of simply facilitation. It's making it easy for people to follow through. That's it. If you do good marketing, the sales process is going to be very easy. If you do bad marketing, then the salesperson has to do a lot of work. Now, selling the ashtray to a non-smoker. A marketer would never even try to do that. A marketer would do two things. One, they would ask a question. Do you smoke Marlboro, or do you like something organic? They would ask a question like that, which is actually an assumptive close in itself. And if you did nothing at all, then they would know you're a non-smoker. And they would probably try to sell you a vacuum cleaner. If you did respond to that, then they would sell you the ashtray with a follow-up message that would say, hey, guess what? We'll give you 2 ashtrays for the price of 1 with free shipping. So I hope you got some value from today. We're going to be doing a Tactical Tuesday tomorrow, unlike any other, and you guys have homework, okay? I'm going to be sending a marketing email whose sole objective is for you to watch a 1-minute video with my friend and Peter's friend, Marshall Silver. 1 minute. That's all we're asking you to do. Watch this 1-minute video. And if you're not convinced at what he wants you to do, which is basically click a button and sign up for a free account, then you really haven't gotten the whole industry of marketing. But if you do, then you'll be in a prime position to learn and earn tomorrow at our Tactical Tuesday. So thank you all for coming out tonight. And it is a wrap. Back to you, Peter.
Yep. Hey, thank you so much, Vic. Thanks, everybody, for coming on. Guys, sales is an art, and it's also a science. right? There's rules to be able to follow and live by. Victor said greatly in that, marketing is a journey throughout the process, and it's a great thing to be able to learn this stuff, and that throughout the process of this journey, throughout the sales journey, it all starts with marketing. So if you have great marketing, what you're doing is you're giving a layup to the salesperson, right? And if not, then it's going to be a struggle, right? Because you haven't seasoned the prospect enough so that this way they have that desire to be able to do it. So, again, I hope you've had a lot of value out of today's call. We do these calls every Monday night, and you'll probably get an email asking for you to do a simple poll. We want to find out if, hey, you want to stay with the time we have, or you would like to have something in the afternoon instead. And they'll have multiple times on there, so we want to find out what's the most beneficial for most people to be able to attend these calls and these Zooms that we have throughout the week. So hopefully you guys have a great evening. We'll look forward to seeing you on Tuesday and Thursday, should you be able to get on the Zooms, or coming back next Monday. So remember, guys, you have the power to be able to make this sales process happen, this marketing process happen. And it's just a matter of practice and doing the process, okay? You can become a world-class salesperson. You can learn the marketing stuff and to be able to make your dreams come true. Thanks so much, everybody. This call is a wrap. Have a great evening, guys. Bye for now.